Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into the story of Kim Yo-jong, a figure who's been called everything from a smiling diplomat to, well, the most dangerous woman in the world. Her name has gone from a whisper in Pyongyang to a global headline, and we're going to find out why.
For years, if you saw her at all, she was just this silent shadow, always a few steps behind her brother, Kim Jong-un. You know the pictures. She's in the background, holding his documents, or maybe even holding an ashtray for him. To the outside world, she looked like nothing more than a glorified personal assistant.
But behind the scenes, intelligence analysts were watching her very closely, and they were starting to paint a completely different and frankly much more alarming picture of who she really was. The language they used got stronger and stronger until it all boiled down to this one single chilling phrase.
So how in the world does that happen? How do you go from being the quiet assistant to the iron fist of a nuclear-armed country? Let's unpack that. We're going to trace her journey from a hidden childhood all the way to the very center of global power.
All right, so her story doesn't start in some grand public palace. Not at all. It begins in total, absolute seclusion. I mean, she lived a life so secret that to this day, intelligence agencies are still debating what year she was even born.
She was born the youngest child of North Korea's then dictator, Kim Jong-il. She grew up with her two older brothers in this super private, totally lavish compound, completely hidden away from the very people they were one day going to rule.
Now, her time in Switzerland, this was absolutely pivotal. Just try to imagine it. You're a teenager, you're sent to a public school under a fake name, but you're being watched 24/7 by your country's officials. It was there, totally isolated together in a foreign country, that she and her brother Kim Jong-un are thought to have formed this unbreakable bond built on trust and survival.
So after all those years hiding in the shadows, she finally makes her first official public appearance at her father's funeral in 2011, and she's standing right next to her brother. Now, for the insiders, this was a massive signal. It basically screamed, "I'm part of the inner circle now," and her climb to the top was just getting started.
And let me tell you, her rise was no accident. It was a methodical, step-by-step climb. It started with this title, Tour Manager, which sounds kind of harmless, right? But no, at just 23, she was controlling his security, his schedule, everything. And from there, she made a beeline for the regime's most important tool, its propaganda machine. And this is what really shows her true role. See, she wasn't just an assistant. She was the architect of his power. She's the one who carefully sculpted his public image to look just like their grandfather, the founder of North Korea. She was literally building his divine right to rule brick by brick. Okay, so for a brief moment, the world got a glimpse of a totally different Kim Yo-jong. Remember the 2018 Winter Olympics in South Korea? She showed up, all smiles, playing the part of a charming, soft-spoken diplomat. But that image was not going to last long.
The real turning point came in April of 2020. Kim Jong-un just vanished. He was gone from public view for weeks, and rumors started flying. Was he dead? Seriously ill? And right into that power vacuum, this new, shockingly aggressive voice started coming out of state media. And yep, it was his sister.
And that quote right there? That was from her very first statement issued under her own name. What a complete departure from the silent woman who used to stand in the background, right? The message to the world was brutal and clear. My brother's fate might be uncertain, but I am in charge now. And from that moment on, her language just escalated. It got more direct, more personal, and way more insulting. She completely embraced this new role as the regime's #1 attack dog. And honestly, the things she said were sometimes even more vicious than what her brother would say.
And here's the thing. Her words are backed up by some truly chilling actions. Reports from defectors and intelligence agencies, they all paint this picture of a master strategist who thrives in the brutal power games of Pyongyang. She's been linked to the execution of her own family members and is even said to have personally ordered the demolition of a key symbol of peace with the South.
So, when you put all of that together, this ruthless consolidation of power, plus her new role as the regime's official voice, it's led experts to one very logical and very alarming conclusion. She's being positioned to be the next leader. She's the heir apparent.
I mean, think about it. She's no longer just shaping the message behind the scenes. She is now delivering it. By issuing over 40 official statements, a job that was only ever done by the Supreme Leader himself, she has signaled a huge, fundamental shift in power.
So here's the ultimate takeaway. If Kim Jong-un were to suddenly die, pretty much everyone agrees that power would pass directly to her. His own kids are way too young to rule. That makes her the only real heir from that so-called sacred Paektu bloodline, the Kim family dynasty that has ruled North Korea since it was founded.
You know, history has definitely seen some ruthless female rulers who seized power and took out all their rivals. But, and this is a really big but, what makes the idea of her reign so uniquely terrifying is the unprecedented power she would have. We're talking about a nuclear arsenal combined with total, absolute control over every single piece of information her people see.
And that leaves us with one final, chilling question. The world has spent decades living with the terrifying prospect of one Kim dictator. Is it ready for another one? And will the silent sister, the one who architected her brother's power, prove to be even more dangerous than the man she helped create?